Welcome everyone to the Multi 21 pod. I hope you've all had a lovely weekend. Today I am joined again by Daniel Noakes. He's meant to say hello, but I don't think he's in.
Jesus Christ, you could have told me.
Yeah. When I say your name, that's maybe an indication to say hello. I don't know. So
Hello, yes, how's everyone today? I'm good. Yeah. Let's
fantastic.
continue.
We're joined by the other Daniel in our group, Daniel Fernandez.
Hello, everybody. Hello, thanks for having me on today. Thank you.
It's always
the cooler Daniel. Yes.
It's always a pleasure,
sorry.
mate. It's always a pleasure. And
shut up. We're here to talk F1.
Yeah, we are. Anyway, so let's get on with it. And we are also joined by the other Tomek, because we have two Tomeks. So hello, other Tomek.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
So I think after that we can all get started. So first of all, I think I will speak for everyone this weekend on the tragic passing of Murray Walker. An absolute legend in the sport. If you know F1, you're going to know who Murray Walker is. He's a bit before our time. He commentated on some of the most iconic moments in the sport. You look at the massive crash at Spa. You look at the Senna incidents, Schumacher's first titles. He's an absolute legend. And I think I speak for all of us saying it is an absolute tragedy that the world has lost him. I'm going to go to Daniel. I think he wants to say a couple of words on his behalf.
Yeah, so obviously Murray Walker, one of the best to ever do it, which he's probably the only person you could say that about in Formula One. Greatest to ever do it. And actually on Saturday at about 12:30 in the afternoon, I was watching an old race on my phone, Japan 96. And I just remember hearing the line, and I've got a lump in my throat. And I think that just defined how everyone in Britain felt when Damon Hill won that year's World Championship. He had a bias to British drivers, which I found quite hilarious. He didn't care about what he said. He was laid back. He knew when there was an issue because you had that somber tone about him, etc. When, say, for example, Ayrton Senna had his what proved to be fatal crash at Imola at Tamburello, and he just knew how Formula One worked. And I was reading a story. I think it was 1983 or 84. BBC could only afford one microphone for the Formula One commentary box. So it was him and James Hunt there. Murray hadn't finished his point, and James was basically begging for the microphone. So all of a sudden, Murray apparently grabbed James Hunt by his collar of his shirt, put him up against a wall, and I don't think James daren't mess with him again. Murray, you will be missed. Thank you for I think it must have been the best part of 50 years in F1, and thoughts with your family at this time.
I couldn't say that better than what you've just said there, mate. Murray Walker, aged 97, rest in peace. So, on to this weekend's activities. As you will all know, we have just seen the last 3 days spent watching the Bahrain testing. It's a lot of people have their opinions on testing, whether it's a true indication of what's going to happen during the season, or whether it is just something to get people's hopes high just to see Mercedes wipe the floor again. But we're going to have a little quick review on the weekend's action. And I think I will start with Fernando Alonso, who his first time back in an F1 car since his days with McLaren. I generally thought that he had a very good pace. I don't know what you guys thought about that, but I thought he did really well on Saturday. Really looked impressed and looked comfortable in that car. I'll start with Daniel. See what he has to say about Alonso in the Alpine.
So yeah, with what I have to say, I think Alonso is overhyped. Look, well done. You did some testing. Okay, you did some laps. Okay, fine. Okay, I just think with Alonso, right? I said this before. I think he's gonna flop, and I think Ocon will wipe the floor with him. But with that being said, look, with testing, yeah, I don't think it is a true indication. It's what you just said. It's like people get their hopes up just for Hamilton to win again. Obviously, I enjoy that, but I would always want some entertainment. But with that being said, I just think testing is not a true indication. This is just for the fans. We're just seeing, the new cars come out and everything. And I know Mercedes struggled, and I am a little bit worried, I won't lie, because testing is a little bit of a reflection. Ferrari last year was shit in testing, before the big corona break. So I think that the season will be great. I think it'll be like podiums, unexpected as well. But yeah, I don't think we can go off testing. I do think Mercedes are top dogs. I think Red Bull will run them closely, in my opinion.
Well, Dan, we'll get on to Mercedes, Red Bull, and the other drivers a bit later on because we've got a fair amount of things to go on to. Noxie, what did you want to say about Alonso?
Yeah, well, it's no real secret that I don't like Alonso at all. I don't know why. There's something about him I just can't stand. But like Dan said, going on testing, yeah, he looks good. But can I see him finishing on the podium in that Alpine? It took Ocon 16 races to finish in the podium last season. I can't see it happening. I can't see Alpine finishing on the podium. They're a good team, but are they good enough for the podium? This season, no. I think obviously they don't have a team principal. It's everyone is kind of their own boss, as it were, apart from like mechanics and everything. And yeah, it'll be a good season. Don't think they can finish on the podium, but they'll certainly make a good old-fashioned challenge for fourth or fifth in the constructors' race.
Definitely, and I mean it's going to be really interesting to see how Alpine as a team work this year. If that's the way they're going without a true leader, because it's something that we're so used to seeing the likes of Christian Horner, Toto Wolff, in certain cases Mattia Binotto leading these teams. So to see Alpine go a completely different way from that and try and do something new is going to be interesting. And yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Alpine will finish high towards the podiums this year. They may get a couple of fourths and fifths, but it's still another season in progress, trying to build on the successes of last year. And I mean, losing Danny Rick is always going to be a massive blow. Why they didn't go for someone like Guan Yu Zhou in the F2 series is ridiculous. I'm completely in agreement with you guys. Don't understand why Alonso's come back, but if he makes the sport better, then fair dues. I'll welcome it if he's competitive, and if he's not going to completely moan and act like a little bitch, then yeah, I'll be happy. I'm looking forward to see what happens there. I won't look forward to Alonso if he's going to act like a little kid, though. Tomek, do you want to say anything about Alonso, mate?
I mean, I'll just be repeating myself here. I mean, he's done well in testing. He's done around nearly 200 laps in the last 2 days of testing. But the question begs, is he going to get a podium? I don't really think so. If anyone's going to get a podium in that Alpine car, it's going to be Ocon, realistically. So I can't really say much other than what you have said. So yeah, I share, Connor's and Noki's opinion quite strongly. So
definitely. Dan, what you got? Fernandez, what you got to say?
I just wanted to say very quickly, I do think that they will get one podium. I think Alpine will get one podium. Alonso, look, as much as I think he's awful, he's overrated now. He's finished. In Spain, he turns up, and I think he'll get a podium in Spain. But that will be his only points of the season. Get fastest lap, podium, that's it. He'll flop the rest.
No, see.
Completely agree with what you say there. But what you got to remember about Alonso is, apart from obviously what he's done in testing, he hasn't done any racing laps with cars of the 2019 onwards regulations. So obviously less aero. I think they tried to make the car slower this year. Obviously you can't change engine modes in the middle of the race now, can you? As of Monza last season. So I can see him struggling at the start. Maybe he'll do something towards the end of the season, but I'm sorry, podium for him out of the question, because you got teams like McLaren, Mercedes, and even AlphaTauri, who I think are going to be better than Alpine this season. On the basis that Tsunoda proved yesterday he's a brilliant driver. Pierre Gasly's won a race. He's been on the podium a couple of times. He's a brilliant driver. And in the McLaren Mercedes, you've got Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris, both of whom I think are both very, very capable of winning races this season.
Definitely. And I think that's a great way to start the next segment of the podcast. We're going to talk a bit about AlphaTauri. I mean, like you said yesterday, as we're recording this on a Monday, so the Sunday session, Yuki Tsunoda looked absolutely phenomenal. He had brilliant pace in that AlphaTauri. We all know Pierre Gasly's talent behind the wheel. We've seen it multiple times over the last season. I think they're going to do well. I think they definitely looked improved from an already solid car last year. I think they'll definitely be pushing towards the higher end of the midfield. They're definitely I think they'll beat Ferrari this year. I know it's a very bold claim because we don't know much about what Ferrari have done yet. They didn't exactly have the easiest pre-season, with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz both struggling in certain areas. But I genuinely do think that AlphaTauri have improved a lot to be able to beat Ferrari. Fernandez, what do you want to say?
I wanted to say that with Ferrari, they will bounce back this season, because one thing I've seen is, which I think I've seen the potential of it as well, is last year, let's be real, it was Leclerc, and basically that was it. Like with Vettel, he had no confidence. Okay, so I don't blame him. Okay, I don't think and it's good that Vettel looks like he's smiling in Aston Martin, which is fantastic. But I think Ferrari will be fourth this season. I'm just going to say that there. I think only McLaren, will beat him, because I think, look, you know what Ferrari fans have always been? They're the arrogant thing. You know, they should be winning. They're the most successful. They look with being sixth last season, that definitely hurt them pride-wise, and I don't think they'd accept nothing less than top four this season. Let's be real. They need to get fourth. I think Aston Martin, they'll beat Stroll. Their drivers are better than Stroll. With AlphaTauri, they always are this. I think they'll beat Alpine, but I don't see AlphaTauri ever getting to the top of the midfield, because I don't think Red Bull would let them. And I'm being real. They stopped it. If they're doing too good, they'll take it. Red Bull will take their personnel. That's what they do. It's like with Vettel. You know, you want him a race, bang, he's in Red Bull. So it's hard to tell with AlphaTauri, in my opinion.
You have to realise, though, as well, that AlphaTauri over the last year or so, since they've changed from Toro Rosso to AlphaTauri, they have become more independent. They have become more their own entity. And I mean, I don't think Red Bull will have a lot to say if they move up in the midfield. And your claim about Ferrari, I can't see it, man. I mean, there's not a lot that you can do in this off season, especially when you look at the new regulations coming in next year. A lot of the cars already said that they're not changing that much going into next season. But yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion, your opinion as well. Noxie, what do you want to say?
Yep. AlphaTauri, I think obviously they've looked very good at testing. I don't think they've had a major issue with their car. Honda's last year in Formula One, so obviously they want to do as well as they can with both teams. And then obviously Red Bull take over the Honda engine. I think AlphaTauri can give a good claim for fourth or fifth in the title this year because Sonoda's clearly got pace. I mean, look at him in Formula Two. Yeah, same cars. But first ever season, I think he finished second or third in the title. Yeah, he's third in the title because obviously I like second and Mick on top. I think they can fight for fourth or fifth, be on the same level as Alpine, but I think they can even steal the podium. And hell, why not? Why don't they take another win for good measure? They they can do it. It's clear to me that I think it could. There are possibly similarities to last year Red Bull on there, but I'm not saying that because I don't want to get in any trouble and I don't want Red Bull to in the podcast.
It's definitely a bold claim. It'll be interesting to see if that is true. But now AlphaTauri definitely looks speedy. They look really, really speedy in certain areas. Their qualifying pace looks phenomenal. Tomek, do you want to add anything?
I mean, you lot are stealing my limelight, aren't you? Jesus Christ. No, I've got nothing much to add. I mean, Tsunoda has proven himself. Well, I say proven himself. He's shown that he's got pace in testing, especially in the third session, I believe. So yeah, third session. So who knows? Hopefully he kicks on. He's done very well, and as a whole, I believe AlphaTauri will be up there as well. Same as what Noxie said. I think fourth, fifth seems very, very easy for AlphaTauri, but we'll see. We'll see.
Definitely. I hope you got your brain on, mate, because we're going to get back to you first on the next one. I think Noxie wants to give one more claim quickly.
Yeah. So quickly, it was even proven last year that AlphaTauri were able to race Red Bull. Yeah, admittedly, it was only Alex Albon in that second car, but still, they could race Red Bull. And oh dear, I've just got a load of hate from the Albon lovers now, haven't I?
It's fine, mate. You're not going to get cancelled yet. So I need a third podcast. At least wait until the 5th. Anyway, so I think next up we should move on to the Russian car, the Haas, and in particular, Nikita Mazepin. Not exactly the most popular guy on the grid, but we'll try it. I want to say now we're going to try and not focus on his off-track antics. We just want to talk about his racing. So I could say that's a threat to you guys to behave yourselves. So, he looked a bit shaky, didn't he? He didn't exactly have the best preseason at all. He got in a couple of tangles with Lewis Hamilton, which is, quite surreal to see two different worlds collide into one. So I don't think it's going to be a good year for him at all. I don't think it's going to be a good year for Haas. Tomek, what do you want to? Have you got anything to say about the Haas and Nikita?
Mazepin, yeah. I mean, yeah, Haas has been very slow for all of the testing sessions. Unfortunately, they haven't really changed anything in that car compared to last season. They've announced that they're not going to work on their car up until the regulation change next year. So it doesn't really surprise me they're not doing that well, in all honesty. But they're not last, so I guess that's a positive for them in that testing. So I don't know, but about the driver that shall not be named, yeah, it's not really that good. I don't know, but it is what it is. He's not been very fast compared to his teammate, other than the day 3 testing session. But again, I think it's going to be a very, very bad season for the Haas team. I think not changing the car at all will cost them. So, but again, I don't hope I'm being proven wrong, but you know, anything can happen. Anything can happen in the F1 world.
Definitely. And I mean, I think I can speak for all of us. I think if Haas don't at least show any slight improvement this year, I'm sure Gunther Steiner would tear out whatever is remaining of his hair in frustration, especially with someone like Mazepin in that seat. I'll go next to Noxie, who I know always has lovely things to say about Haas.
Look, the Haas team and themselves, the mechanics, everything, I don't have a problem with because they don't make the choices. They just sit there, they put dodgy brakes on the car, and they make sure the tyres aren't fitted before they go out in Australia. Getting to real life, though, I can't see anything but them not scoring any points this year. Maybe Mick will shithouse some points, but Nikita, I can just see him lingering towards the back. Yeah, I think P10 in the championship because I think Williams will score some points, but I'll save that for later. And what's the word I'm going to say here? What was he doing yesterday? What was Nikita doing, laughing at Lewis Hamilton having a spin? Was that a nervous laugh because he shit his pants, or was that a laugh because funny man's spun in front of me? Ha 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 ha. Ha, Daddy owns my team. Ha ha ha. Or Daddy will own my team next year. Ha ha ha. So,
I think it's more the nervous laugh. Like I watched it. I know it did. I'm not gonna lie, it did make me laugh seeing Mazepin's reaction. But I did think it was more of a nervous reaction because he had a couple of times like where he was. I know this is going to be a really bold claim. I think he's really, really trying his best to outperform that car as much as possible. He's trying to like push it to the limits. We saw a couple of times where like he was on the back of that Alpha, like had to like properly emergency stop and spin like his wheel to just get the car to actually stop. Same with the amounts of time where he had some tangles with Hamilton. Like I do think he's genuinely doing his best to try and perform as well as he can in that car, but it's just
100%.
Yeah.
Can I just finish something?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is I'm not going to hate him on track because unless he does what he did in Formula 2 last year, like when he pushed Tsunoda off track in Bahrain and everything. I'm not going to hate what he does on track. I'm not going to wish any major incidents on him like I've seen some people do on Twitter. But obviously, I'm not going to delve into off track either. But I don't like the guy. It's clear that I don't like the guy. But yeah, I hope he does do something like for all F1 drivers. I hope something happens, like where he maybe scores a point out of nothing. But I'm not going to sit here and give all my love to him because I just physically can't without the thought of being sick. So
of course.
That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, of course. It's definitely a hard person to try and support. I don't, before people on the internet try and cancel me, I don't condone him at all for what he's done. I mean, I think he's an absolute pillock, but he's just got to try and focus on him performing in
Pillock's being kind, mate.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. I've promised myself I'm not going to go all out. I just want to have a calm, low key podcast this week. But we'll get on to Fernandez now. I know he's been waiting for a bit to say about Haas, but go ahead, lad. The floor's yours.
Look, with Mazepin, okay, what he does off track is off track. Okay, I'm going to judge him on track. Couldn't give a shit. Okay, even though he's a bad human, couldn't give a shit. Okay, you can't judge him off track, on track. With him, okay, he's a shit driver. I don't know why people are thinking he's going to get a chance or anything. He's shit. Okay, I gave shit to Latifi. This guy's going to get more. Okay, he finished sixth, I think, in F2. Robbing guys of like I lot obviously, and everything. The way he went to Hamilton, disgusting. Fuck yourself. Yeah, don't care if it's a nervous laugh. Don't laugh. Why are you laughing, mate? You're not even in the same bloody car. Anyways, ran over about him laughing at Hamilton. Fuck him. No, and I don't wish any instance. You know what? If you get points, mate, take your points and leave. And you know what? Take your dad with you as well. Because fuck you. You know what it is? You bring shame to people like Stroll and Latifi, man. Really, that guy honestly does. But fact is, he'll finish 20th in the championship, 0 points. And you know what? I hope Hamilton laps him 20 times. Fuck him. But anyway, anyways, enough about him. I think. Look, do I see something in him? Look, he won 2 races last year, so credit where that is due. He's proven he can do it. With Haas, right, it's like what Noki's saying, you can't blame the mechanics or whatever. But the thing is, okay, I told you this last year, Haas had the worst car. It's just K-Mag and Grosjean were better than Latifi. And the car was, look, with Russell, okay, he crashed behind the safety car. I can't remember what race it was. Was it Mugello where he crashed behind the safety car? But so
You have to remind me, don't you?
No, but yeah. Sorry, I forgot you were Russell's appointment.
It was him, and he finished 5th in F2, which I've been trying to signal to you for the past 10 minutes.
Sorry. So yeah, with but with Russell, he's proven he can do it, and Russell will get 15th, and I think he'll finish. He'll only get beaten by Alonso. Apart from that, he'll be head of the bottom 3. But so Haas have always had the worst car, I think, for 2 years. It's just their driver quality got through it. Now, look, I think Mick will get 3 points because I think Mick is a great talent. With Mazepin, I think it's so toxic and everything with him, and especially with having a Russian car for an American team, that's controversial as in itself. That is because of Mazepin. Let's blame him for that. We can. It is his fault why it's a Russian car. You shouldn't. It's just a lot of controversy, and with Haas, people are going to wish for them to finish 10th. And to be fair, I do wish for them in being 10th because, yeah, I get if they needed the money that badly, then okay, fine. But from what I've heard, when Gunter Steiner is saying, "Oh, we can finish top of the midfield," fuck yourself again. That's been that simple. I hope I see him drive to survive season 4, and I hope he gets sacked. Gunter Steiner. Okay, fuck him. Because if you're going to be top of the midfield, you don't get Mazepin. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Sorry for ranting.
That was quite something. That was quite spectacular to watch. Yeah, no, I think Haas will have a tough year this year. I can't see them finishing anything above bottom. And you were saying something about Williams. I'm gonna say something that Daniel will probably be the other Daniel. This is confusing. Noxie will be happy with. You seem to forget that in 2019 they literally had to build the car at Barcelona and missed 3 days of testing. There is no way that Haas that year was worse than that Williams. No offense.
No, I said in 2020. No, I said in 2020.
You said last 2 years, lad.
Sorry, I meant. Sorry, what
I know what you mean. I know. I'm just teasing with you.
Yeah. Not last 2 years. I mean, as in 2021. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Speaking of Williams, I think it's a good time to segue onto them lot now. They had a decent preseason this year, I thought. George and, dare I say it, Latifi look like they've really improved that car, and they look stronger. They look much stronger than they did the last 2 years. I know it's, again, preseason. It might be a completely different story to what actually happens, but I have hope for Williams. So on to our favourite Williams fan, Noxie. I'm sure he has a couple of things to say about his boys ahead of the season.
Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about Friday because just keep Missani the fuck away from that car. I mean, in fairness, I'm giving Missani credit because he would have won the sprint race in Belgium last year if Dan Tickton did do a Dan Tickton into the side of him, Lecon. But shit happens. Bye, get out of F2. No one loves you. Fuck off. Saturday, Latifi looked very good in it. I think he finished the day in P9 with the fastest middle sector, which was obviously the corner at Bahrain with the sector with the most corners. I got there in the end. And obviously George yesterday, I think, finished P9 as well. Obviously no fastest time because I believe those belong to Sonoda and Kinney in the sectors. And yeah, I think it looks good, better than it did last year. George will put that into points about 4 or 5 times. I think he can even finish in the upper point side of about 7.46 in a crazy race. Crazy. Yeah, let's see what happens here because the Williams is a good car. It's looking good, the FW43B. First one with their new owners, Dorian Capital, whatever they're called. Crofty had a rant about it yesterday. And yeah, why not? Why not put them P8 in the championship, below Ferrari. And although that Haas does look good, actually, Alfa Romeo looks good even. Sorry, we'll see what happens in 2 weeks' time at Bahrain, and then I will make my proper decision there from 2 weeks' time after the first race.
Definitely. I mean, you got to hope that Williams has shown improvement, and I mean, as someone who didn't give a lot of slander, if any, to Latifi last year, it's really nice to see him improve. I mean, he to have that as your debut season where the whole world decided to say fuck it, we're having a pandemic now. It must have been hard for him, and it must have fucked up a lot of his planning and preparation. But in the off season, it's looked like he's done a lot of work to improve himself. He's definitely become more funny. I mean, his clips on Pancake Day were fucking brilliant. And I think he likes Nutella a lot. But it's good to see him improve. And of course, we all know what George can do. I mean, 3 of the 4 of us here are from the Cambridgeshire area. So he's our local lad. We want him to succeed.
Can I just say?
Yeah, go on.
These guys know that this is my fun flex. I live 13 miles away from Mr. George Russell, so fuck the other 2. I mean, Tomek also used to live about 0.5 miles.
Yeah, so I was going to say. I was going to say, that's not very nice. We get it, you live next to George Russell. Why don't you get him on the pod? It would be quite interesting. If
you want it arranged, and followed by the official George Russell 63 account on Twitter, one of only 33 people, by the way.
Fuck it. Let's see if you get George Russell on this pod, then I will give you £50.
50?
Yeah, come on. I'm not. If you get George Russell on this pod, I'm giving you £50.
I'm not taking your money because I don't want to, but that's a very good offer. I will do it for free. And yeah, I mean, let's give it a go. Why not? Anyway, shall we get back to business?
Yeah, let's get back to business. I will say one thing though. I would keep an eye out on our socials because we got a bit of a special guest coming up in the next couple of weeks. But that's all we're going to say for now. We're very excited with what's going to be happening with that. But anyway, back to the podcast. We don't want it to be like the others, where it just goes on forever. Yeah, the Williams looks really good. I'll quickly go to Tomek, see what he has to say about Williams, and I will actually ask him about the Alfa Romeo as well, because as it been with Kubica being testing for that team, I know Tomek being our Polish correspondent here, he might have a couple of things to say about the Alfa as well. So, Tomek, floor is yours, lad.
Yeah, I mean, Williams has impressed me quite a bit, but are they going to be as high as they were in testing? I personally think they won't, but as Connor rightfully said, I root for the boy that is Russell from King's Lynn before I get killed in the school. And yeah, good times.
You got anything to say about Alfa Romeo as well? Because I know you got some connections with the Alfa team.
Well,
this has gone straight.
Oh my god! Right. Anyway, about the Alfa Romeo. So, again, for me personally, a decent surprise. I think Giovinazzi's pace in the second session has, impressed me as well. I mean, I repeat it, impressed it a lot, but I don't know. I just like to see progress especially in testing, where they can just, show everyone their ability. And although it may not mean anything in the long run, I think he's impressed us with his pace. He's 5 tenths off in the second day to Bottas, which is decent, I'd say. And then in the third day, Kimi did well as well. 165 laps in the third day, which is absolutely mental. I think it's, was it 2 Bahrain circuits, you'd say?
I think it was 3 that I read.
3.
Like 3 times the distance of the actual.
3 times the distance. It's
race.
mental. It's mental. Absolutely
Nearly
mental.
three. Nearly 3. Just under 3. 57, 114, 171. Yeah, 6 laps off of 3
Jesus
race
Christ.
distances around Bahrain.
I mean, it's impressive for me personally, because the bloke's getting on a bit, and you must think, the physical ability of the bloke. Can he handle that long? And he did. Fair play to him. So, and he finished 4th in that day as well. Only 8 tenths off. Verstappen, who's impressed all of us, I'd like to say, in the last 3 days, and Tsunoda in the third day as well, who, as we've mentioned already, is a good prospect to the sport. So, yeah, I'd say they've impressed me quite well. But again, it's testing. Hopefully they'll do well, as you said, as the Polish correspondent. I want to see them do well, but we'll see.
Yeah, fantastic. I think all brilliant points there. We'll quickly get on to Fernandez, see his points about Williams and Alfa Romeo. Then we've got to move on to our final point on not qualifying. That's in a couple of weeks, Connor. We'll get on to the final points on testing.
For me, I'll just start off with Alpha. With Kubica, I think he's the free practice driver. I hope he gets in the car again, because he's a nice guy. And for Poland, especially, because I think they're sponsored by a Polish company. I think so. That's why I think they launched Warsaw.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are sponsored by Orlen, which is a petrol station company in Poland.
Yeah, but I think with they definitely look reliable. Do I think Alpha will be great? No, I do think they'll be better than Haas, but not better than Williams. But on to Williams, I think they look very good, and I'm very happy with their progress. They're definitely, I think, they're starting to come back, and I know after every regulation change they're better, but that's not now. So yeah, but yeah, I wish it was nice to see, and I want to just quickly apologize to Latifi, because I gave him so much shit last year, and he seems like a nice guy. So yeah, you heard me, Connor. Okay, I apologize, okay, because I know you gave me a lot of shit for my Latifi. So yeah,
that's calm, man. It's good to it's nice to see a driver redeem himself. Again, like I said when I went on my original chat about Latifi, he had to have that tough of a year to get into Formula One. It takes a lot to get away from that and develop, and he's developed. We can all see he's developed. Anyway, we'll get on to Noxie on a quick point about Alpha, then we'll move on to our next point on testing.
Yeah, so on Alfa Romeo, just want to say, surprised me yesterday with Kimi going P1. I was sitting on my bed looking at my phone, and then all of a sudden Crofty absolutely having a breakdown about how Kimi somehow went P1, and then he realised he was on the C5 tyre, so another Crofty is in there, and I loved him so much. It's amazing. But yeah, looks a nippy car, like the livery, as I said the other day in my controversial liveries bit. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Certainly finish above Haas, certainly finish above Williams, I think, actually. Wait, no, I contradicted myself there. They'll finish maybe level on points or just below Williams. Yeah, I think they'll do well this year. I think Kimi can certainly score a few points. I think I gave Giovinazzi quite a lot of shit over the past couple of years, but he's starting to warm on me now. We'll see what happens. And Connor, back to you, my friend.
Definitely, thanks, lad. We'll get on to our last point now. So we've spoken a bit about the midfield, about the back end of the grid, but we haven't focused on the race contestants, your teams that you expect to be towards the top. Now, we've covered a bit about Ferrari. I think we've covered a bit about every team apart from 3, and we're going to get onto them now. So, Mercedes, reigning world champions, also known to have many AMGs on the car. They looked shocking, which is quite surprising. Again, like we said at the start, we have to emphasize it's pre-season. A lot can change from now to Bahrain, but it doesn't look promising for Mercedes. And hopefully, I mean, for the neutral or someone like me who doesn't really enjoy Mercedes, it begs to ask, is there going to be changes here? Our team's going to fight for it. And the other 2 teams we haven't talked about, Red Bull and McLaren, both looked absolutely brilliant this year. So I'm going to ask you boys a question for this segment. Do you think that this is the year that Mercedes crumble and the likes of Red Bull and McLaren looking so fast will get their chance to attack, win races and potentially outperform Mercedes? I'll start with our resident Mercedes fan, Daniel Fernandez, see what he has to say. I'm sure it's going to be controversial.
No, it's not going to be controversial. For me, I think 2022 will be when F1 gets interesting and we're going to have multiple teams fighting for it. For me, it's look, I like Hamilton, okay? I couldn't give a shit about Bottas. But with me, okay, do I think that people will come and challenge Bottas? Yes. I think that Mercedes' dominance is going to slowly end in 2022. This year, I think Hamilton will do enough like he did in 2018 to win the title for them, and he'll win the drivers and lead, hopefully. That would be my dream. But do I think that Red Bull will be challenging them? Yeah, I said Perez will be 3rd. So I think it will be close. McLaren will be comfortably 3rd, but I don't think they'll be near Red Bull. Everything looks good. Ferrari, I think there'll be a bit of a renaissance, as I said earlier. But yeah, I hope no one comes and challenges Hamilton. But if Bottas finishes 7th, so be it. I couldn't care less about it. But yeah.
But surely it's quite concerning how poorly Mercedes have been this preseason. I mean, you look at Hamilton, he's a 7-time world champion now. He looked like he had no control on that car. Bottas looked good on the Saturday, and I think that was the only highlight they had all weekend. If someone wants to correct me, go ahead. But they had an awful preseason.
The one thing is, here's the thing. They did this in 2019. This is all I'll say. Mercedes have sandbagged in testing before. They trolled Ferrari, they trolled Red Bull. What happened? They won the first 6 races. What I think is happening here, and honestly, I think they're trolling. I think they're generally sandbagging. Hamilton's just chatting rubbish, as he normally does on the radio, and he'll come and smack them. That's what I think. I think Bottas will be shit, but I think Hamilton is lying for the sake of Red Bull being calm and they're being like, yeah, we can do this, and then we'll smack them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that should be allowed. I think if you're in pre-season, you should show your true colours, leave it all on the table, because that's the point of pre-season. Like, it's a point to test what you have. If you've got something there, and it's not going to be the image of what, like, if you got something there, and then you're going to turn up 2 weeks later with something completely different, then that's not right. Testing, you have your car you set for the year, and then by the first race, whether it was normally like in Australia or in Bahrain now, you expect that car to change a bit, but not massively, just to fix what was wrong with the car in the first place. But anyway, enough about that. I'll get on to Noxie next to see what he has to say.
Yeah, so if ever there's been a clear case of sandbagging before in Formula One, this is it. That Mercedes isn't shit. That Mercedes isn't a P7, P8 finish kind of car. We all know that. They're going to take 1-2 in the championship. They're going to take 1-2 most races. Last season, they sandbagged in Spain and then went to Austria, won it. I think they finished on the podium every race last season, bar 2, which was obviously the 2 crazy races of Monza, and the second one I'm not even going to name because of George. So yeah, there's no sandbagging there. They did it in 2020. They did it in 2019 when they won 16 out of 21 races. They did it in 2018 when they won about 13 or 14 out of 21 races. They're not sandbagging. They never will not sandbag. They're gonna just go to Bahrain. They won't even surprise us all when they pit it P1, 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 in P1, P2, and P3, and then P1 in Q1, Q2, and Q3, and then P1 in the race. So yeah, they won 19 out of 21 in 2016. And let me guess, what did they do in Spain testing that year? Let me think. Sandbag to fuck room. Never going to change. They're never not going to sandbag. And fair play to them. I respect them for that because at least they're admitting what they're doing. It's not like they're sitting there and going, "Oh, we're not sandbagging. This is real shit." But in Bahrain in 2 weeks' time, they'll admit that they're sandbagging, and it will fuck everyone off.
I like I said to Fernandez, I don't like the rule at all. I don't think you should be able to sandbag. I think it's just complete piss take. Tomek, you got any comments about Mercedes?
About Mercedes. So the only limelight was the Saturday, and then Hamilton got 5th on Sunday. But referring to the original point of sandbagging, are they truly sandbagging? It truly looks like it. And it probably is true. I'll back that very, very happily. You know, I mean, Toto Wolff has come out and said that apparently the gearbox issue scares him and whatever. And but that's just talk. You know, that's just, you know, press just wants everything from people like him, and he could genuinely just go to the press and just say absolutely anything about their car to sandbag. As the original point was, and yeah, I'd like to say they're going to dominate this year. Probably, are they going to dominate as much as they have last season before? Probably. I can't see it being any different until potentially the regulations come in. So yeah, I think they're just talking a lot of rubbish, and in that process just messing everyone around them up to win the constructors potentially. So
I mean, as an eternal optimist, whether it is with Formula One or whether it is with my football team, I do hope that it's not sandbagging, and I hope it's genuine, because I mean, like I said at the start, that McLaren Mercedes and that Red Bull look absolutely brilliant. Like Checo, being one of my stars, looked absolutely brilliant on Saturday and Sunday. He really looks comfortable in that car. And then Max, he's just so good, isn't he? Like, he's so talented in that car. Like, he knows how to work around that car brilliantly, and he's shown it with some brilliant performances. Again, I think that they will challenge Mercedes more than it's been in the last couple of years. I think they'll definitely give them a run for their money. With McLaren, Lando and Danny both looked really comfortable in the cars again. They both looked really quick. I think that they'll definitely have many podiums this year as well. That car looks strong. I'll get on to Noxie. I think he wants to say something about the McLaren and Red Bull.
Yeah, so I've got 3 very quick points to make. So obviously you say about cars different speeds at Bahrain. What you've got to remember is in testing, there's no such thing as track limit. So you saw everyone running wide, going on to what was the outer circuit, and then moving back on to gain an extra 3 or 4 tenths a lap. I don't think I saw Mercedes do that once, because I think they stuck it on track all time. Red Bull, they look very good. This is my second point. Red Bull look very good, but I can't see it sticking all the way through. I'm sorry, Connor, but I can't see Checo winning any races. I can see him kind of doing an Albon, all the hype there, and then he'll just flop. McLaren, I don't even think Max will win many races. McLaren, no. I think they will finish P2 in the constructors above Red Bull. It's a bold bet, but look at Danny Rick in testing, look at Lando Norris in testing, and tell me that car is not capable of giving Red Bull a fight for P2. tell me now, because if you do, I will dislike you. And back to Connor, because he's going to now scream at me for Checo slander.
Yeah, that's the main point I'm going to say. I mean, I love Checo. He's amazing. He's definitely earned his talent to get that seat. He's definitely earned his way to finally get a seat in the top level of the sport. But anyway, I think that is everything we're testing. What we're going to do is we're going to move on to a development that was made in the last couple of weeks or so, and that was the development of potential sprint races. So the idea is for 3 of the races being, and I'm gonna expect Noteski to unmute and correct me on this. It was Monza, Silverstone, and Interlagos off the top of my head.
Wow, bloody hell.
Hey, I got my stuff right. That were the 3 tracks to get selected for the sprint races on the Saturday. I'm going to start with Tomek and then go around. Tomek, what do you think about sprint races? Do you think that it is a gimmick, or do you think that it will bring more support into the sport, more views, more excitement?
Well, I mean, personally, I'd say it's a positive thing to bring to the sport. As I mean, I don't watch a lot of F2, but knowing of sort of seeing what happens in there, I think it's a beneficial sort of, how do I say it? A beneficial option to the sport, I'd say. Just see whether it works or not. I'd like to say that it would bring a lot of people to watch these sort of sprint races. It's not long. It wouldn't be long. Whether that would replace qualifying, I don't think it would. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing much I can say other than, there's always pros and cons to these sort of situations, whether it's financial or, environmental or whatever you want to say. However, if you were to ask me, do I want them in F1? I'd like to say yes, 100%.
Well, I think from what they were talking about, it was 100 kilometers that they were going to do around any track. So they'll do 100 kilometers of Interlagos, and then after that 100th kilometer is done, they'll do one final lap, and that's it. Which sounds quite interesting. I think it'll be a good laugh to watch, especially if they do it in the same style as they do in F2, where it's basically you can only use one set of tires, if I'm right. So yeah, it looks like something that could really, really throw the cat amongst the pigeons to see who's the fastest team on there. We'll go to Noxie next. What do you think about sprint races?
I don't like it, honestly. I do not like the idea of sprint races in Formula One. They work well in Formula 2 and feeder series, Formula 3, so on and so forth. But I can't see it working in F1 because it's not a spec series. You're just going to have the same cars and same drivers. If you go to a place like Silverstone where you've got lots of overtaking potential, you're going to have Mercedes starting at the back, and then you're just going to have them zooming all the way up to the front. It's not going to work. But if they do it, my opinion is take out the number of laps they do, make it a timed race over 45 minutes plus 1 lap, and then see how their strategies are devised after that. But honestly, I don't like the idea. It's a pretty poor one on the side of FOM. I hope it does bring more fans in. Don't get me wrong. I want to see more fans enjoying the sport. But I just don't like it because it just seems the cars won't survive 2 races over a weekend with how fragile the power units are, how fragile the gearboxes are. It just won't happen. But if that has to happen, I'll sit there and watch it. But also, I found out the other day through Martin Brundle, only the top 3 will get points. Where's the fun in that when you're going to have Max Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, and Lewis Hamilton as the top 3 every race? It'll just settle the title early, and I don't want that. I just want the old-fashioned FP1, FP2, FP3, and then Q1, Q2, Q3, and a 305-kilometer race. It's the only fair way to do it, and I'm going to move you on to good old Daniel Fernandez to see what his views are.
Thank you, other Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. With me, I fully agree with you. I think, for me, look, I'm not gonna. I'll just say my honest opinion on it. It just feels like this has just come in because Hamilton's dominating, and let's just put him at the back. Let's see if he can do it. For me, look, and also with 100 kilometers, that's way too long. Okay, Hamilton will be able to get his way around, especially with one set of tires to the front. So for me, it's just a bullshit thing. Why has it come in? Just to trial something? It's not to try new fans. It's just because people are bored. They want to see, Mazepin will be starting on pole, just to be aware. So if Mazepin wins, that's F1's fault. But if he wins, fair play to him. But anyways, enough about him. I'm fully what Oatsy said. I'll just repeat everything he basically said. I'm not going to repeat.
Just quickly, can I just say one more thing quickly, Connor? If they're going to do these sprint races, they say they're going to give the softest tyre available, the C5s. We saw last year at Silverstone, the C1s barely lasted Lewis Hamilton 30 laps because of obviously they went boom on the last lap. C5 will barely last 5 or 6 racing laps. They'll just go around like at a snail's pace and it will be no fun. You'll see virtually no moves. You'll just see them just looking after their tyres, and you'll have chances of people like Nikita winning races. You'll have Nicholas Latifi winning races, which is good for the sport, but no good for the championship because they'll get 10 points and they'll just keep them at the bottom doing nothing. Might as well just give 10 points to Lewis Hamilton to help win the title. Connor, I'm going to pass back to you now and see what your thoughts are.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, sprint races, I've only started watching F2 in the last season just gone. I thought it really worked there. But again, like you said, feeder series, it's a bit different. Car specs are all the same. You like your points about Hamilton, true. Like he has shown his talents when behind that wheel, being able to overtake brilliantly. But we also saw that the Mercedes car isn't exactly built for overtaking. Like we definitely saw it struggle in a couple of the shock races last year, where when Hamilton got a penalty at Monza, he did, albeit he did overtake people, he didn't do it as easily as people thought he would. That Mercedes isn't powerful behind the back of a car. Its power is at the front of the grid in open air. If it's in turbulent air, if it's in hot air, then it isn't as good as people seem. So I think it more gives a chance for the midfield teams to get points. And again, if it improves the sport, if it makes it more diverse, and I'm definitely up for it. I mean, there's a lot of things that they've said, a lot of things I've seen. I mean, I've even seen some people say that they're going to create different power units for those races, which on one hand would make sense, but on the other hand wastes a lot of resources, so it doesn't make sense. So it's a bit of a weird one. I still say get them all in like a taxi or a car native to that country, a la Top Gear style, and get them a couple of laps round Silverstone, see what happens. But anyway, enough on sprint races. We'll move on to our final point now before we wrap this all up. So in our next pod, we will be going through our definitive predictions, going through each and every driver, saying what we think will happen. But for today, I quickly want to do another 3 quick prediction points. We're going to start with the driver champion, then we'll go on to the constructor champion, then we'll go on to our dark horses for the year. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go one at a time. We'll go driver, then we'll go constructor, etc., etc. You get what I mean? I'm going to start. I'm going to say it. I think Max wins it this year. Like, it's a bold claim, but I think Max has looked brilliant. That Red Bull has improved massively from what we've seen. I think he will definitely win it. It's going to be close. Like, I don't think Lewis is going to walk with it. So, in my opinion, it's Max's title this year. I'm going to enjoy listening back to this in December when I'm horribly wrong. But anyway, we'll move on to Tomek. So Tomek, driver champion, go.
Well, I mean, I want Verstappen to win it all, but realistically, I'd like to say it's going to be Hamilton. It's going to be his next title, and he's going to overtake Schumacher, personally.
Fantastic. So we'll move on to Noxie now. Simple question. Driver champion, who you got?
I'm going outside the box here. Valtteri Bottas. And I can see the look of disgust Connor's given me, but I'll be honest here. He's proven he's gotten the pace to fight drivers consistently over a race. But if he can take that race to race to race, he will challenge Lewis like Nico Rosberg challenged him in 2014, 15 and 16. And I think he'll be good for the sport scene, another Finnish world champion. Obviously, we haven't had one since Kimi Räikkönen in 2007. So why can't he win it? He's in the same car as Lewis. Let's see what he can do. Daniel Fernandez.
Sorry, before we pass on to Daniel, that's quite the hot take. I remember we talked about on Friday when we recorded episode 2. We did talk a bit about Valtteri, about his title claims, and we did say about his consistency was a problem. But I think if this year he properly grabs hold of that consistency and provides a really good drive, I can't see why he wouldn't be able to win it. So it's a bold claim, but I'm very interested to see if it happens. Anyway, Fernandez, I'm going to guess. I know who you're going to say, but I'll let you go and go with it anyway.
Yeah, look, for me, I think it will be close. I think it will be less than a race win worth of points. Hamilton will just about beat Verstappen, in my opinion. For me, look, Daniel knows it, okay? Here's the thing with Bottas, right, okay? He can't do it, okay? He can't. I'm sorry. Hamilton scares him. You can look at him, okay? He's celebrating after winning one race. Hamilton is in his head, okay? You have to accept it. The only guy who can beat Hamilton is Verstappen. That is the honest truth. Nobody can compete with him. Rosberg beat him and retired because he could not compete. He beat him and left. There was a reason why he left. In his head, he was done. Hamilton got to him here. After that second place throw with the hat, Hamilton got to him. He scared him. Same with Bottas. I'm telling you, when Russell came in, okay, Russell was a great driver, but Bottas was last. Okay, but anyways, I'm not going to get off topic. Okay, Hamilton to win it and barely to do it.
I have to disagree when you say he scared Rosberg, because Rosberg did give him a battle in 2014 and 15 as well as 16. Anyway, I'm going to go back to Connor so he can get on with his constructors before I end up coming to wherever you live and giving you a bop on the nose for no reason.
No. You see the threats on the podcast. This guy should be banned.
Mate, I'm not reffing anything. If you two want to have it out somewhere in London, then that's fine by me. Don't get me and Tomek involved. We'll just argue about our shit football teams instead. Anyway, that's my dig on his shit football team over with. No, not Palace, Posh. Anyway, away from that, we'll get on to our constructors now. I imagine it will be relatively similar to what we predicted for our driver champion. For me, again, I think it's going to be Red Bull. Not only do I think that Verstappen is going to win the championship, I think Checo is going to really do well in that second seat and get a shit ton of points for Red Bull, get a couple of podiums, get a couple of wins as well. So I do hope that it is Red Bull. I would love to see a change of guard before the next regulation comes along. But yeah, I'll move on to a pleasant Tomek, who I'm sure is waiting with joy for what I want to say.
What do I say here? Anyway, moving away from that. So the question is about constructors, yeah? Okay, so well, as a Red Bull fan and watching the test, well, I say watching the testing, I've been doing research really, seeing what they've done. I want them to do really well. I think they're not. Are they going to be first? It really depends on whether the second seed at Red Bull is genuinely cursed. If it isn't, they might just get first. But if not, then Mercedes is just gonna, wipe the floor with them. Unfortunately.
What about you, Noxie? What you got as constructors?
Well, as you know, Helmut Marko really loves to wank off Max Verstappen. He don't give a shit about whoever's in the second seat. But so my constructors champions this year are Mercedes by a long, long shot. Yeah, Bottas and Hamilton 1 and 2 in that order. And yeah, Dan's gonna get really pissed off if I talk about it anymore, so I'm gonna shut up.
I'm
On to
not.
Fernandez.
Thank you. No, I'm not. Actually, no, you're entitled to your opinion, and yeah, it's definitely a hot take, as Connor said. But with me, I think by 1 point, Mercedes by 1 point.
I'm enjoying these predictions. They're quite tense. I think the general consensus here is that Mercedes aren't going to have an easy ride as they have in the last couple of years.
Bottas is awful, basically.
I mean, he isn't. He's driving for Mercedes. I mean, he's what Mercedes need as a second driver. So,
which is true.
We'll get away from Bottas slander for today's pod, and we'll move on to our final point before we sadly have to end. Our dark horse of the year, and it's just a simple one, lads. Who's dark horse? Who do you think is going to surprise people? I'm going to go for someone who doesn't really get spoken about a lot in Formula One, and that's Antonio Giovinazzi. I mean, that Alpha, if it has improved over the last year, then I think Antonio will come out of Kimi's shadow. He'll get in a couple of good performances. He certainly showed that he's got the talent for it, but I mean, he's always been that driver that's like, oh, this is all the F1 drivers and Antonio Giovinazzi is over there. Like he's not really thought about when you think about F1 drivers, but I think he's going to have a breakout year. He's definitely got to, because his seat will be at risk if he doesn't. So it would be a shame to lose him. It's very nice to have an Italian in the sport. But yeah, I think my dark horse this year is going to be Antonio Giovinazzi. I'll move on to Tomek, see who he has for his dark horse.
Right, there's two drivers that I want to put through. One of them which has been in the sport for a while. The other one that's just come in. I personally would say Tsunoda is going to be a dark horse for this season. I mean, based off testing, which is not much really like that. It's not really a valid thing to say, but as it stands, that's all I've got. But Tsunoda has shown very true pace, and I think he'll be quite strong in the season. And the other one, which I mentioned, was going to be Ocon. I think Ocon will get a podium this season if, as I've mentioned before in the pod, if Alpine was to get a podium this season, it would be from Ocon. Ocon has been decent for Renault last season, although Ricciardo did really much better than him. I'd say did really well with the car that he's got, and yeah, for me that's one of the two, and I can't really pick one, so I just stick with them two.
That's fair enough, lad. I don't have a problem with picking two dark horses. Not the end of the world. Moxie, who you got?
Do you have a problem with 3?
By the end of this, we're just going to pick the whole grid as a dark horse. Yeah, go for it. Free world.
I've got 3. First of all, I'm going to say Lando Norris on the basis that a lot of people on Twitter don't rate him. They give him stick. I think Lando can win one race this year and finish on the podium for quite a few, especially in that McLaren Mercedes, which looks absolutely brilliant. Secondly, I'm going to go with Yuki Tsunoda. Shown he has pace all the way through this pre-season. Whether it translates on track or not will be a different thing for the actual Grand Prix and stuff. And third and finally, Antonio Giovinazzi. Like Connor said, on the pure basis that if that Alpha's any good this year, I think he will put it on the podium. That is one of my second hot takes this year.
That's a massive hot take. Jesus Christ.
If that power unit in the back of the Alpha's any good, and if the Alpha's aerodynamics, etc., is any good, why can't he put on the podium? He nearly got a podium in Germany 2019 before he got disqualified because of fuel. But yeah, he's a very good driver, and I think he'll put on the podium. Same with Lando Norris. Same with Yuki Tsunoda. And back to Connor.
That is an incredible hot point if Antonio gets a podium, because I mean he's like I said in my dark horse prediction, he's always the forgotten horse. And also, whilst everyone's having 2 or 3 dark horses, I'm going to add another one, Nicholas Latifi. I know he's not exactly been everyone's favourite driver, but I really do think that he's going to have a breakout year like Antonio, get a couple of points for William. It will properly do his confidence a world of good. I'm going to go on to Daniel now, who it'll be interesting to see who his dark horses will be. So, Fernandez, go ahead.
Yeah, before I mention another person, which I'm surprised you haven't mentioned, I agree with everyone. I think Lando will perform as expected, though. That makes sense. But apart from that, yeah, I agree with everybody's. I'm actually going to say Perez, because I think he's going to get third. And I know Connor's wanking himself now, but it's fine. Man.
I can confirm that I'm not.
No, well, yeah, they won't see us. I'm sorry. No, I mean, he's happy. But for me, I think people think it's this bullshit about the Red Bull seat being cursed. But I don't know why Ricciardo left. I think he left because he wanted to be a number 1 driver, I think. Do you correct me if I'm wrong? But apart from that, yeah, Red Bull don't have a cursed second seat. He'll do amazing. Okay, and that's it. Perez can take the pressure. Okay, he said he can take it. Okay, he'll come third. He'll do all of that. I just think people are thinking he's underrated. I think Connor would agree with me. I think people think he's underrated. He's a great driver, and you will see that this season he will get race wins, and he will challenge Max. Okay, not challenge Max. Max will beat Max Hamilton's a different level, but he will definitely beat Bottas this season. If he doesn't, I'm going to be concerned.
Yeah, just quickly want to go on from what I said about an Alfa Romeo podium with Giovinazzi. It would have to be a crazy, crazy race. That's all I'm saying. He won't get it on outright pace. It will have to be Austria's from last season star race times 10. And that's how we'll get his podium. If that makes sense to any of you guys, if you stop laughing at my random hot takes by now. And Connor, back to you, because I believe that is the end of it. I just want to say thank you to everyone, and I'll pass you to Connor.
You trying to take away the ending then? Right. So I think that has covered everything. So from hot takes to Bahrain to sprint races to the lot, we've covered a fair amount in this podcast. Like always, give us a shout on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever we are. I think we're even on TikTok now, which, as someone who doesn't like TikTok, makes me want to puke. But anyway, I think that is definitely the end of the pod now. Next time we do have a special guest. We are really looking forward to record that one. I think our next podcast with that special guest will be on the Bahrain weekend. We'll be talking about who and what is going to happen in this season. We're going to thoroughly go through the grid. It'll be after qualifying, so we'll have an understanding on who is where, and then we're really looking forward to it. So we'll catch you in about 2 weeks. But from me, thank you. From Fernandez, a massive thank you.
You're welcome.
To Noxie, a massive thank you.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed my bullshit opinions and hot takes and everything in between.
Mate, always. And to Tomek, a massive thank you as well.
Thank you very much for listening.
It's been an absolute joy, lads, again. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Like Tomek has just said, thank you for listening to the Multi 21 pod. We are looking forward to doing this again and seeing you soon. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.